when the world has got you down. And
Alzheimer's sucks. It's an equal opportunity disease that chips away at everything we hold dear. And to date, there's no cure. So until there is, we continue to fight with the most powerful tool in our arsenal, love. This is Love Conquers Alz, a real and really positive podcast that takes a deep dive into everything Alzheimer's, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And now, here are your hosts, Susie Singer-Carter and me, Don Priest.
Hello, everybody. I'm Susie Singer-Carter.
And I'm Don Priest, and this is Love Conquers Alz. Hello, Susan.
Good day, Donald. How are you?
Good day. It is a good day. Is it a good day? How are things? Yeah.
It's good. At Los Angeles, it's like 80 degrees-ish.
Yes. We had tons of rain for like 2 weeks straight, and it was cold. It was like for us, it was cold. It was in the 50s and the 40s at night, and it was freezing. And suddenly the last, week and a half?
Yeah, we're back to normal. So,
woohoo!
But let's not talk about weather. Let's talk about other things like websites. Like a website that I just finished building all by myself, and I'm very proud of myself because, nonprofit, I'm going to say this again because I say it all the time. Nonprofit is just another way of saying sweat equity right now. So our 501c3 official nonprofit organization, which is roar for LTC.org, ROAR stands for Respect, Oversight, Advocacy, and Reform for Long-Term Care. And it is an outgrowth of our documentary, No Country for Old People. You can watch it on Amazon and Tubi and
Hoopla.
Which is the library.
If you're involved in the library system, you can go on and
get it for free there.
Yeah. Check it out, if you will.
Check it out. So, and it really is our call to action because for reform and long-term care. And we're very excited about it. And the website is up and running. So we would love to invite you to join us in the fight for reform and in a more expedited way so that we're not sitting here talking about this for the next 50 years. And, really need all hands on deck and as many people as possible so that we can really make a shift with the powers to be that hold the purse strings to this system, to this industry.
Yes, and you can roar in many ways. You can roar by volunteering. You might have some special skills. You might, we're really looking for everyone to, bring their own strengths to the cause. So you can volunteer, you can donate. We are definitely, we will definitely need some funds to propel the engine of this thing. You can do both. Anything that you can do will be helpful.
Anything. And I think one of the easiest lifts, one of the low-hanging fruit is to just share the documentary with as many people as you can because the documentary really pulls the curtain back onto what the truth is and how the system is working or not working, rather. And hopefully it will engage others as well because we need the public to know and we need to be outside of the bubble of the people that already do know. So that we are stronger. The bigger we are, the stronger we are as constituents. That's our currency. That's how we make change. It's nothing new. I'm not inventing it. It's just the way it is. And trying to change policy doesn't work in this environment and the way that this industry, is set up for wealth care as opposed to health care. So, go check it out, share, and, we all need each other on this, so we need to be a community. And kumbaya.
My lord, kumbaya.
Yeah, kumbaya. Kumbaya. Do we get dinged for that?
I think we might have to pay royalties on it. No, we don't.
Yeah.
That's fine. Sing away.
But we have such I'm really proud of this conversation we're about to have with two entities that I am very proud to be colleagues with in our industry that do such great things. So, Dawn,
Yes.
I'm going to stop babbling and you're going to introduce them.
I'm going to do that right now.
Today we are joined by two very special alumni of the Love Conquers Alz guest family. Marianne Sciucco is a registered nurse, author of numerous books including Blue Hydrangeas, an Alzheimer's love story, and a founding member of AlzAuthors, the global community of authors writing about Alzheimer's and dementia. She was featured recently on an episode of Love Conquers Alz celebrating the 10-year anniversary of AlzAuthors. Marianne is joined today by Lance A. Slatton, writer, author, influencer, and a seasoned healthcare professional with more than 20 years in senior care. As a senior case manager with Enriched Life Home Care Services and the voice behind the award-winning All Home Care Matters podcast and YouTube channel, Lance continues to educate, empower, and inspire audiences worldwide. Today, they are here to make a very exciting announcement, and we are honored that they chose Love Conquers Alz to tell the world.
So without further ado, let's say hello to Lance A. Slatton and Marianne Sciucco. Good day.
Hello to my favorite people. I mean, don't get mad at anybody, but they are my favorite. Some of my favorite people.
Always great to see you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're one of mine
so
too.
great to see you. Aw, thank you. It's a love fest here.
Yes.
Kumbaya. So here we are. We're here. This is going to be. It's a very special short episode, but we have a very big announcement, right? And I know Don and I couldn't be happier because it's sort of a professional marriage, if you will, right? And of two great brands. I hate calling it a brand because it puts it in a frame,
like in a marketing frame, but it's much more than that.
Doesn't really describe what you, like a marketing frame. Yeah, exactly. It's so much more because what you guys do with all Home Care Matters, which is Lance Slatton's company, and AlzAuthors, which is this. It's like a dynasty in a very short time that you've created, Marianne Sciucco, and with your team, and it really has become the touchstone, or for authors who have a laser focus on stories that embrace the Alzheimer's journey, and then some, and you have a big announcement to make. We already know, we're excited, but I think I would like it to come from you guys and talk about this marriage, which we're teasing about, but that we're very supportive of and very excited about, and frankly a little bit jealous because I think it's going to be amazing. But I'm so happy to be able to shepherd. I know Don and I are both happy to be able to shepherd you guys into this new chapter, which I think together, both of you have done so much in this area, in our area of caregivers, Alzheimer's, reframing and giving and destigmatizing and making everyone feel less alone. And really that's what it's about. That's about giving, I hate to ramble on, but if you haven't seen the interview with Jay Leno recently and his wife and what he's doing and how he's embraced it, it is everything that we talk about, and it is so pure and so authentic, which is really how I described the both of you. So tell us what's happening. What's the exciting news? Who's going to start? Lance,
Marianne, go
ahead.
I'll start. So last year, 2025, AlzAuthors celebrated its 10th anniversary, and we ended the year by deciding that we all wanted to retire, the whole management team. So we'd all been working together for some of us 10 years and some maybe a little bit less. But we had, 10 years is a long time. And when you're older, things change and your situations change. And people wanted to not have to put so much time into this project, which became bigger than we ever expected. So we tossed around to some ideas like what do we want to have happen to what we've built? We don't want it to just disappear. And we had a few options, And one of them was to find somebody else that we trusted in our community to take it over.
Can you, before you go on, explain in case that somebody might be under, hasn't really become acquainted with AlzAuthors? Could you just say exactly what, in a nutshell, what you built in the past decade?
Yes, we are the global community of authors writing about Alzheimer's and dementia from personal experience to light the way for others. And so what we do, our management team, is we curate books that are written about Alzheimer's and dementia on a personal level. The author has to have been on their own journey. And we vet the books. We find the best books in that category. And believe me, there are a lot of great books out there. And we give these authors a platform to launch their books and to provide them with support through social media, podcasting, blogging, and newsletters and events. We do online events. So we have a lot going on. And the goal is to help put the books into the hands of people who need to read them. So that's it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is. And more than, and, let me brag on you a little bit more, is that, it extended beyond, narrative books. You went into poetry and, and I was fortunate and very, thrilled that you invited me to be in your first, film festival with our film, My Mom and the Girl. And, so you're always very cutting edge in terms of, knowing what the power of art, the power of story, and no matter how it is rolled out and in what format, but that is the truth, and that is what really speaks to people. It's not data, and it's not a news clip. It is story, and so Lance, you're now passing the baton, so to speak, over to another colleague.
Lance.
Talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, so we, wanted to, went through the list of our, partners out there, and who did we think would be able to take this project on, because there's a lot of moving pieces. And so we came upon Lance, and everybody's like, oh, that would be so great. So I reached out to him and asked him, let's have a conversation about the future of AlzAuthors. And when I, presented him with this opportunity, he said absolutely immediately. He didn't have to think about it and get back to me or anything like that. He was like, no, I definitely want to do this. So, that worked for us, because we knew that we were going to be moving it to a safe place where we felt confident that it wouldn't be disrupted or, taken on and then
where it could grow. And where it could grow,
Yeah.
And as sort of the model that you've had in the past, which is to keep growing upon what you have. And Lance, you're the perfect person and company and team to take it over, because Dawn and I come from traditional broadcasting, and which I don't even know if it exists anymore, but you've taken this opportunity, and like Marianne did as well, taken this opportunity to be entrepreneurial in a media space, and really utilized it and made the most of it, and really have done a tremendous job. It's very admirable. It's very, I think enviable, because it is the wild, wild west, and there's a lot of noise out there, and the consistency that All Home Care Matters has presented is that, again, is another touchstone for caregivers, because it's consistent and it's reliable and it's high quality, and you're committed and it's authentic and you're smart, and you bring all the qualities that people rely on. Especially, this isn't entertainment, this is communication, and you're dealing with sensitive topics and very tender topics. So I know you have a lot to say about this, so let me give you the floor. And, I just wanted to thank you personally for taking this on, because, we were not happy to hear that AlzAuthors would possibly be extinct.
And it was right after,
So
and Marianne, then she came on to announce the 10th anniversary, like, and then we heard that it was, we were like, oh my gosh, it was so, we had so many different emotions when we heard that, it was understandable, certainly. It's an unbelievable amount of work that you've put into this, and but when we heard that it was going to continue to live in the hands of Lance, we were just, we were ecstatic.
Oh, well, thank you both. Susie, I just want to start by saying this first before I get into like my thoughts on this is Marianne didn't mention it, and the fact that they did this consistently, regularly for 10 plus years. And I want to stress this for Marianne and Jean and Vicki and their board and their team. It was all volunteer based. These were not paid positions. They did not draw salaries. They did this a lot of times using their own funds, and Marianne, feel free to correct me anytime. They used their own money to keep this going and to grow it. And why did they do that? They did it for the betterment of all of us and people that have been touched by dementia in some form and way or another. And when she had met with me, my first thing, like you, Dom, was I'm just thinking, I'm like, Marianne, this has got it. You can't just let it go. You can't just let it die. I mean, that would be a disservice to the general public as a whole. And when she said, what do you think about taking it? Like, I didn't even need a second. It was an immediate yes. And, our show, All Home Care Matters, is coming up on its 6-year anniversary, which is just about almost half of what, AlzAuthors has been around for. And we were followers and supporters of afar of AlzAuthors because we have our home care company that's been in business for about 15 years. And could I do that as a volunteer for 10 plus years? I don't know that I could. And that's with a business supporting it, because there are expenses, there is cost. Your time is also worth something as well. But they did this so unselfishly to support all these families, and they get films out like No Country for Old People, to promote my book, and all the countless others that they've touched, the over 400 independent authors and filmmakers. I feel like, with the support base that we have, that we're going to continue that work in a tremendous way. And I've been asked a few times, like, what did it mean that they chose you? And I say this not flippantly, but I really can't put it into words because, I kind of reverse roles, right? I'm Marianne and she's me, even though she's going to have better hair. I don't know. The trust, the confidence, and the faith that their entire board and co-founders put into me, I say this very humbly also, like, there wasn't one person that shared any concern with me about doing it. They all had that confidence, which means a lot to me because I think it just speaks to, the integrity that, you and Don have, that AlzAuthors have, that we have, because we don't try to operate like the Wild West. We want to have helpful, factual, reliable, true information and stories for people. And now we're just getting another extension to continue doing that. So it was very, very humbling, and we'll be forever grateful that they put that confidence in us.
No, it's a great match. So let me jump to next year. What do you see happening over the next year, and where do you think you'll be, and what will this all look like? I know you can't really say definitively, but what do you hope? What's in the pipeline that we can look forward to?
One of the things is, I offered and encouraged Marianne to continue podcasting when she's ready. There's no pressure. When she says, I'm ready to go, we're going to go. We'll be producing, Marianne's podcast, which, will be an extension of AlzAuthors. But some of the things we want to do is, really bring more focus and attention on these authors and on these resources, and use different tools and, avenues to get that in front of people. They have over 400 authors. We want to engage those authors, and not that they'll all be reciprocative of this, but we want to try to, engage them in a way where they're continuing the work they started by their book, by supporting their book and supporting AlzAuthors. And, there's some exciting things that we're looking at doing. I can't say for sure they're going to happen, but we want to do more in-person stuff with authors. What that looks like right now, we're not quite sure. But even having, like speaking engagements and, different things like that, given our existing network. Yeah,
I love that.
Given our existing network with All Home Care Matters, bringing AlzAuthors into that network, I think just really opens itself to, things like that. And I think people need to know about it. Marianne and I have talked, and, the other AlzAuthors folks, and we all, I think, deal with this, right? You get somebody who wants to be a guest or they want to get their book approved, and it's almost like as soon as they get that, then you just don't hear from them anymore. We want to give the authors a reason to stay engaged with, AlzAuthors and the tremendous resource that's already been started.
And that can be a challenge too, because in this arena, as some people want to stop talking about it after a while. They want to stop. It's like, I've done it. I've put it out there, and now I'm ready to move on. Right. And so keeping that engagement with them, it's a challenge.
Sure.
But so the fact that you're even going in that direction, I think, is really interesting, because it can maybe be done in a way that's so positive that it's not to them. It's not a
right.
Yes.
Well, dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it needs to be dynamic. I think you're on the right. I think that's so smart, because there's so, like I said before, there's so much noise out there, and it does take, you have to look at what each one of us are doing. Like Love Conquers Alz, we're also just hit our 6th year, right? So and we are, we're not a huge conglomerate, or, we're not behind, but we are consistent, and we know that people know that they're going to get good guests, and that it's thoughtful, and that we care about what people, what information that we bring to people. But it does, with the environment that we're in, the media is flooded. And unfortunately, there's not everybody has good content. And so you have to get above that. And so when good companies come together with the same intention, that's powerful, right? And so I think it's really great. And I think that we suffer the same problem with authors or people that have, maybe they're in a leadership position, but they're not doing the work that needs to be done, so that we can help each other help our listeners, because it does take a lot of effort to get above the noise. And I think that, again, I go back to consistency and authenticity. Though it's like, the cream rises to the top, but it's very difficult in this day and age to get through that. And so what you're doing together, there's power there.
Right. Absolutely.
And yeah, so I love what you're doing, and I do think, it's a lot, it's daunting, but are you going to continue on with film festivals and the arts against
so,
stigma?
No, we there's nothing that I can say right now that we have even thought of saying, well, let's just kind of put that on the shelf. We want to continue the film festival. I would like to see actually that get expanded, where yes, you can have people join you online, but how great would it be if it was an in-person film festival? Where, they're not just showing up, watching it, and then logging off. It's a Q&A and, meet the filmmakers, things like that. There's a lot we want to do to leverage that, because, we have a pretty decent support behind All Home Care Matters and a pretty good reach. Now you take AlzAuthors and you join them together, and now All Home Care Matters can be helping to support AlzAuthors. I just think it couldn't be more perfect and more ripe for a lot of opportunities.
Agreed. I mean, I would say, I want to just say to anybody's listening, like, feel free to send us any kind of thoughts that you might have that you think isn't out there right now, that you would want to hear or see, or have have an opportunity to engage, or whatever it is that maybe is missing out there now, that they would want. Because I know when I started my podcast, because frankly, there wasn't a lot when my mom was going through this. There wasn't that much information out there. I didn't really know any other podcasts. So I think, which is, obviously Marianne's started before us, but in terms of of a conversation coming out, with more, in a bigger way, it was really like 6 years ago, right? I mean, that's when it's all started. And so I think it's such good timing now that you've got people's attention. Now pull them to the kinds of content that is authentic. I feel like there's too much content out there and too much information that isn't authentic, and that's a problem. Very much so.
A lot of it is self-serving. Yeah. Or like people thinking they're going to get rich, trying to exploit this community, and that's not where it's at. That's not what happens. I think, honestly, that people who, like myself, who've written books on the topic, hope that you're going to get some money for your troubles, but that doesn't always pan out. It's very, very difficult to be in this space. And if I would recommend to people who are thinking about it, I'd say, well, maybe not. Because I said that about my own self. Like, gee, if I knew I was going to, a book about Alzheimer's was going to be so hard to sell, maybe I wouldn't have written that one. But it ended up creating this beautiful community. And
exactly.
At the same time as we were starting to pick up steam, the levers of communication had changed so that ordinary people could now have a voice and a platform through self-publishing books. A lot of the books on our platform are published, independently, small press. They're not big, New York City publishers, but they're all good people who had a good story. And then we had the podcast, and then podcasting just kind of blew up. And so now everybody has a podcast out there. There are a lot of podcasts on Alzheimer's and dementia, but there isn't anything like ours. And, we just happened to fall into it at the right time because, with social media, that was the other big piece too. Social media, picked up over the last 10 years and became this huge thing, and it allowed us to spread our message. And as well as like having the blog, having the website, all of those things, because when we started, we didn't know if we would even get any books at all or any authors at all. I mean, it really was a dearth out there. There was just nothing. And, it got to a point just like within the last 2-3 years where we were getting so many books that we had to start turning them away. We had to, we had a 6-month wait for an author to appear on the website once their book was accepted, which was good for us in a way, but then I just didn't think it was good for the author because that's a really long time to wait. So we imposed some, mechanisms to our system to kind of like avoid that and get away from that. And it just happened to all come together so quickly over the last 5 years or so, because I think everybody out there now can build a platform like this. We were in the right place at the right time.
I agree. So right now, if there's authors that have a new novel or some kind of art that they want to submit, are you still taking submissions, or is there a hold on that?
There is a hold on that. The submission portal is closed. We need to rebuild that, and probably sometime in the next 2-3 months, I would say.
Okay.
And start having people apply, and the criteria is probably going to remain the same. And we do have people who are still continuing to volunteer to vet the books and to look at different things, products that we have. It's a huge vetting process. We don't take books and just slap them on up on our website because you paid us, the fee or whatever. We don't do that. Somebody actually reads the book, makes sure that it meets our criteria, which is quite strict. And then the author also has to have their own social media platform that is active and needs to also be out there promoting their book. And, of course, the book has to be professionally done. So once we, make sure that all of these elements are in place, then we may offer the invitation to become an Alz author, and we were taking approximately 60% of the books that we looked at came our way. And the same goes for blogs. We do have blogs on our site, and we also have the films, as you know, because both of you are featured, Susie, and several others, and then podcasts. We have a lot of other podcasts. Some of our authors are podcasters. So, I mean, there's really a lot of information there for people who are just looking for answers, especially those who don't have a lot of time and don't want to get stuck in some rabbit hole on Google or Amazon looking, what will work for me. We categorized all of our product, all the books, all the products that we feature.
Amazing work.
Yeah, disease type.
Do you foresee a kind of a rebranding, new look, or just kind of stay in the world that everyone knows already?
Yeah, 90% the same world. There's going to be a few things we'll tweak. For instance, we're going to have a page, our section, however it lays out. We have our meeting this week with our website team, just acknowledging, the work and contribution from Marianne, Jean, and Vicky. I just wanted to add, to the vetting process. We're going to keep the vetting process, for the most part, the same as it was and is. We'll have people on our team vetting the books, reading them thoroughly. Some of the ladies at AlzAuthors have offered, to continue helping with the vetting process. They're welcome to do that, whenever they wish. And then we'll have our team as well. So, we're not going to be sacrificing integrity for speed by any means. But I think it will be helpful having more people now to help with vetting the books, so maybe we can get more authors on in a little shorter time. But there will be some tweaking, nothing overly dramatic. We're, like I said, we want to keep the film festival continuing that, the poetry, all of that. We want to keep everything as full to the integrity of AlzAuthors is today, tomorrow, but there will be some enhancements, but I think the enhancements will be for the better, not for the worse. Because again, it's all about just getting it out there to more people and trying to get, more eyeballs on it, make more people aware of these resources, because again, if they don't know it exists, they can't take advantage of it. And one other thing.
Exactly.
If I just want to add one other thing, it is being incorporated under our business, so it's no longer going to be a nonprofit, but we're not treating it like a for-profit. It's just, for business purposes, right? So I know Marianne and the ladies had the Donate Now button taken down. Because they're, dissolving the 501(c)(3), but what we're going to do is do a donation button for a book. So instead of people, people believe in the work of AlzAuthors and they want to help someone, and instead of giving a cash donation, we want them to donate one of the AlzAuthors books to somebody that could benefit and, really take advantage of it.
I love that.
Great idea.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Are the resources still available, though, to go to, or is the catalog now while you're doing your infrastructure? Is it
Everything's
still available,
the same.
though?
Yeah.
People
The website right now,
Great.
as it was yesterday, it's the same way today and will be the same way tomorrow. There will be some changes, but it's not going to be complicated or overwhelming or confusing. There's some things we just want to, add and enhance on the website. And that's, we don't know exactly what that looks like now because we haven't had that meeting. We just got the website about a week ago. So we're still, in works with that.
Right. And you have to figure out how you're going to do the Alz. Let's see, I can't think of a good name. I was going to come up with a good name, but for your annual award ceremony for the best book, and I
think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think, and that again goes back to engaging these authors and engaging the community. I didn't mention the awards because what's one of the things we're looking at. How do we want to do the award? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I just said it.
I didn't know if I mentioned it early. Okay.
No, I didn't know.
That is one of the things we want to look at. Is maybe
Oopsie, sorry.
A nice award, and again, it's to keep these authors engaged. But they are an Alz author; they're a part of the community. But I feel like when I say, you're a member of something, you're active in something. And we're not expecting them to be active every day or even every month, but have some kind of, benefit to them, but also a benefit to AlzAuthors as a whole. So it's a two-way street, So those are some of the things that we're mapping out and looking at.
Right. It also legitimizes it. It also and that gives you another vehicle to promote and incentivize, the authors to participate, because it helps them, it helps you, and it also is a great acknowledgement to be acknowledged with an award. So I don't think they're frivolous. I think if they're meritorious, then they're important. It's important to acknowledge good work, I think.
Yeah. And if I could just add one last thing here, when you think of AlzAuthors, people think of the books, they think of Marianne, they think of Jean, they think maybe of the podcast or one of the books or the poetry or the film festival. But what I don't think people often think about, and I think it was maybe Marianne, maybe it was you, AlzAuthors is truly one of a kind in the entire world, in the sense that when you think of other diseases like cancer, heart disease, Parkinson's, diabetes, there's not one single website that houses this trove of resources that have all been vetted by, Marianne's a nurse who happens to be an author, or you're an author that happens to be a nurse. So these aren't just people reading a book and saying, yeah, it sounded good. They're actually making sure there's no, misinformation in there. There's not false promises in there. This is all real world stuff. But no other disease in the world has an entire website or a collection like this, all dedicated to that single disease. And I think that's what really is the uniqueness about AlzAuthors.
God, that is really interesting. That is true. I mean, you think about it, that is true. It's something about our community too. I think, everything that makes this community and the disease and the kinds of manifestations of it, and how different and yet how same our journeys are. I think it makes it very ripe for that kind of community. And you saw that, Marianne, and you saw that from afar, which is incredible. I think you and I, all of us here, see that there is this kinship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? It's like a village. Once it's like, oh, I know you. We belong to that tribe. I'm in that tribe. You don't say no more.
And that's important because, as you stated earlier, there are some people in this for the wrong reasons. And to have that community of the people who are doing it for the right reasons and be big and strong is very important.
Absolutely.
Well, they quickly fail, I find,
Doesn't last long.
The ones who
they're not authentic.
They're not going to. It's a very difficult audience, if you think about it that way, to reach. When I first published the book, I'd written a book. It was a love story about Alzheimer's. I mean, the Alzheimer's part was secondary, really. But when I tried to market it, I had such a hard time because it was about Alzheimer's, and people have negative connotation. They don't. This is going to be a sad book. If you read the book, it's not sad. It's full of sad. There is sadness, but it ends on a happy note.
Like every story.
Exactly. Yeah. So
But I think we all were a bit ahead of our time in terms of, just not to pat ourselves on the back, but the truth is that right now I really believe in story, obviously, and as a filmmaker, but it is now becoming more embraced that story is really the powerful tool. And there's so many, now there's all kinds of storytelling, organizations and impact through storytelling. And then again, you have to wonder, what is their motivation? Because it is hard to, because when we did My Mom and the Girl, I said, I don't want to do this. Everyone was like, you need to do the story. It's so lovely. And I said, that's what everyone needs, is another Alzheimer's movie, right? And I really thought that. I thought no one's going to, and then I got a change of mind and thought, no, you know what? It doesn't matter if one person watches it and it makes them, and it enlightens them, and it lightens up their day, then I've done a good thing. And that's how you have to look at it, because it's a balancing act when you're doing that kind of content. But the truth is, that is the power, is inserting the hard stuff in stories of life, and there's good and bad in every story.
It's real.
That's
It's
just
real.
what it is, and it should be. It's real. It's real. Yeah, I love you
thank you,
guys.
Susan.
I know you have to run, and I know Don and I both just can't give you enough, muzzle,
Yes.
as they say in French, which is, the best of luck with this endeavor, because I think it is so important, and we support you, and we're so thrilled for this marriage. So we can't wait, and we're here anytime you want to, talk more about it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with AlzAuthors and All Home Care Matters with Lance and Marianne and your team. And by the way, I love all the books that I've read from all of your authors. That every book I've read is wonderful, and I've interviewed so many of your authors. And you would think I'd be, could I read another book about Alzheimer's? Yes, I can, because they're all different. And they're just wonderful stories, and you will find them, if you don't even know about Alzheimer's, they'll resonate.
Yeah.
So-
Can I say one thing, speaking about books?
Yes.
For our very last act as AlzAuthors, we are publishing a new book, and it's coming out this year. It's called
wonderful.
Sharing Our Stories Makes Us Stronger. It's a collection of 6-word memoirs. Tell your story in 6 words. Using only 6 words, tell us about your Alzheimer's journey. And people wrote into us. We've got hundreds of them in the book. And I just sent the files over to the formatter today. And we also included artwork. We're from several different sources that we had, which were people who either were wonderful artists and had dementia, got dementia after, and then other people who learned, discovered how to paint and to create nice paintings, nothing major, but after they had dementia, people who never did that before. So
that's
those
incredible.
actually illustrate the book. So we're really excited about that. We've been working on this for like 3 years or so, and
Right.
it was a big endeavor, and finally going to see the finish line. So people can look for that next year.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
This
Well,
year.
this year. This year.
Yeah.
This year. That's right.
That's great.
And congratulations on Riley Ann, at
Thank
your new
you.
addition to your family.
Yes,
I
new
think that's
grandma.
so exciting. Yeah, new grandma.
grandma.
And lots of
Last thing, I
luck.
got to say this before we go, Susie. Don, always great to see you too. And likewise, congratulations on Roar. We're looking forward to having you on All Home Care Matters to talk about that. But, Susie, your biggest fans wanted me to make sure I said hi when they heard I was going to talk to you today. So the kids say hello.
I love the hello, kids. I think about you all the time, because there's my poster
Yes,
of
yes.
Soul Surfer. Lance's kids
Huge
are
fans.
huge fans of
Well,
Soul
they're huge
Surfer.
fans of you now
And
because
I
you
got-
send us that poster and stuff. They just think you're like, a superstar, which you are.
That's so sweet. Well, Anna Sophia Robb, who was the star of that film, was so nice, and her mom and I have remained super good friends, and so she signed a personal autograph to your kids, and that was a thrill for me to be able to
Yes.
send that to you.
Yeah, and if you have any of those handmade cards that they sent you hanging up, that would be cool to show them. But I don't blame you if they're not hanging up. So
Oh, I do have them, but there's no way I can turn my computer because I have. Yeah, no, I love their handmade. That was the most precious thing. I got handmade cards from his kids. It was just
Yes.
so precious. It was like
well, you
that
guys
was
are
the best.
amazing, Susie.
That was the best. I have all kinds of people that sent me stuff that it's
Yes.
framed. I love it so much. It's like that.
Yes,
That is my
absolutely.
award.
It is a big love
Those
fest.
are my
I tell
awards.
You. And
Yes,
you know
it
why?
is.
You know why? It is a love
It
fest.
is a love fest.
And you know why?
Plug it, Don.
That's because love is powerful.
Plug it, Don,
love is
plug it.
contagious, and love conquers alls. We thank
It
everyone
is.
for watching, listening today.
It does.
If you like what you saw and heard, please share and like and subscribe and do all those fun things. And definitely go to All Home Care Matters and to AlzAuthors. And just there's so much out there, so much to offer, and
Take
take advantage
advantage.
of what is out
Take
there.
advantage.
We can't wait to see what the future brings. So.
Yeah, and don't forget about Love
Yes.
Conquers
Yeah.
Alz too, because we do, we all do different things. So and we're wackadoo, and you like a little wackadoo. Who doesn't?
All right.
So, in the best of
Love you
ways,
too.
love you
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
See
Have
you
a good
next
day.
time.
Thank you.
Bye, Marianne.
Love you all.